dive. Today, we've got like this fascinating stack of sources
Oh, yeah.
about research. We've got kind of like the Researcher's Bible, the APA 7th edition manual.
Of course.
But we also have some guides on research methods in like education and psychology.
Yeah.
And even one on data analysis with Excel.
It's like we're building up a toolkit piece by piece.
Exactly.
So we'll see how the research is actually done, but more importantly, kind of the why it's done that way.
Yeah, no matter where you are in your research journey,
Right.
if you're designing your own study, if you're reading other research, or even if you're just like...
Just trying to make sense of the world.
Yeah, just trying to like, critically analyze
Right.
information, this deep dive should be for you.
Yeah, because we were bombarded with information all the time, right?
All the time.
And so being able to sift through it and see, well, what's good, what's bad, where did it come from?
What are the limitations?
What are the limitations of this information? It's really important.
Okay, so let's start with something that's often misunderstood,
Okay.
which is plagiarism.
Okay.
Now, you might think this is just about like, copy and pasting,
Right.
but the APA manual makes it very clear that this is like...
It's a bigger deal.
Yeah, it's a much bigger deal.
It's about honesty.
Yeah.
And integrity in research.
Yeah.
If you represent someone else's work as your own,
Yeah.
it really undermines like the entire foundation of the research process.
For sure. And the consequences are serious too. It's like rejection from publication.
Oh, yeah. Huge setback.
Which can be a huge setback for your career.
Totally.
Even expulsion from academic institutions.
Yeah.
Like those citations.
It's serious.
Those references, they're more than just like formalities.
Oh, absolutely.
Research methods in education actually goes even deeper into this.
Okay.
And emphasizes that ethical considerations need to be present
Right.
at every single stage of the research.
The whole process, yeah.
Yeah, not just when you're like writing it up.
Oh.
Now, this brings up the idea of something called the cost-benefits ratio,
Oh.
which I found to be really interesting.
Yeah.
So researchers have to weigh the potential benefits of their work against the potential costs
Right.
to the people participating in the research.
Give me an example.
Yeah, so like think about like a medical trial
Oh, okay.
for a new drug.
Okay.
The potential benefits are huge.
Right. Could save lives.
It could save lives, improve quality of life.
Totally.
But there are also risks to the participants.
Of course.
Maybe side effects from the drug, or even the possibility that they're not receiving the actual treatment.
The placebo.
Yeah, the placebo.
Right. Yeah.
So balancing these potential benefits and these potential costs
Yeah.
is super crucial.
Really important part of ethical research.
It reminds me of, the Tuskegee syphilis study,
All right.
kind of a dark chapter in the history of
For a
research.
very dark chapter.
For 40 years, researchers studied the effects of syphilis on black men without offering treatment,
Oh.
even after penicillin became available.
Wow.
So it's a stark reminder of why ethical considerations are so important.
Yeah, and how past mistakes have shaped our understanding of research today.
Totally.
That's right. Things like the Tuskegee study led to the development of some really important guidelines.
Yeah.
Like the Nuremberg Code
Yeah.
and the Declaration of Helsinki.
Those are big ones.
And those documents laid the foundation for informed consent, making sure participants understand the risks and the benefits before they agree to participate.
Right.
And that the research should always aim to do more good than harm.
Right.
Which seems obvious, but
Yeah.
yeah.
And, these principles, they continue to guide research even today.
Right.
Through institutional review boards, IRBs.
Yeah.
These boards review research proposals involving human participants
Right.
to make sure that they're ethically sound and that the participants are protected.
It's like a safety net
Yeah.
for research.
Yeah, for sure.
So today's research landscape, it's all about promoting good practices, data privacy transparency.
Yeah.
Researchers are held to a very high standard
Yes.
of ethical conduct,
Which is a good thing.
which is a very good thing.
All right, so let's move on to research designs.
Okay.
So the APA manual introduces this idea of mixed methods research,
Right.
which sounds like a really powerful approach.
Yeah, I think it's about combining different ways of knowing.
Okay.
So think about it this way. If you want to understand a city,
Okay.
you wouldn't just look at a map.
Yeah.
You'd also walk the streets, talk to the people who live there.
Yeah, get a feel for the place.
Get a feel for the vibe.
Yeah, so it's like getting the objective facts
Yeah.
and the subjective experiences.
Weaving them together to
Yeah.
form a more complete picture.
I like that.
Yeah.
So mixed methods research allows you to capture,
The what and the why,
yeah.
right?
So imagine studying the effectiveness of like a new online learning platform.
Okay.
You could collect quantitative data,
Right, test scores.
test scores, time spent on a platform.
Right.
But you can also gather qualitative data through interviews
Oh, yeah.
with students about their experiences.
It's a much richer understanding of
Yeah.
what's really going on.
Yeah, and so it's not just numbers or
Drawing.
stories,
Yeah.
but it's like this interplay of the two.
It's a dance
Yeah,
between the two.
that's pretty cool.
And you know what else is cool about it?
Right.
You can often publish multiple papers
Oh, really?
from a single study.
Oh, wow.
You might have one paper focusing on the quantitative findings,
Right.
another one on the qualitative findings,
Right.
and then a third that kind of synthesizes both.
So it's like getting multiple
Multiple-
perspectives.
On the same issue.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's dig into some specific research designs,
Okay, let's do it.
starting with factorial designs,
Okay.
which are explained in Research Methods in Psychology.
So factorial designs are all about exploring how multiple variables interact with each other.
So think about like testing different cake recipes.
Right.
You might change the amount of flour,
Okay.
the baking time, the oven temperature,
Right.
to see how those affect the final product.
So instead of just looking at one ingredient at a time,
Right.
you're looking at how they all work together.
They work together
Yeah.
to create that final outcome.
Exactly.
Let's say you're studying the effectiveness of a new teaching method.
Okay.
You might vary the teaching method, like lecture versus group work,
Right.
and the age of the students.
I guess.
So by combining those variables, you create different conditions.
Okay.
You see how the teaching method and the student's age kind of jointly influence
Influence the outcomes.
the learning outcomes, exactly.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And it seems like these factorial designs could be applied to all sorts of research questions.
Oh, totally.
I'm thinking about like marketing, where you could study how different advertising campaigns resonate with different demographics.
Absolutely.
Or in healthcare, testing the effects of different treatment combinations on patients with various health conditions.
The key is understanding how those multiple factors play a role in shaping the outcomes we observe.
Yeah.
And then we can design more effective interventions or strategies that are tailored.
Yeah, to those specific situations.
Exactly.
That's a great segue to our next topic.
What's that?
Sampling techniques.
Ooh.
Choosing the right participants for your research is obviously crucial.
Super important.
Our sources describe a whole bunch of sampling methods, from simple random sampling to...
Stratified random sampling.
Yeah.
Cluster sampling.
Keep going.
And even stage sampling.
Wow.
Now, I might sound a little bit complicated, but the basic idea is to select a group of participants that really accurately represents the larger population.
The population you're trying to study.
You're interested in studying, exactly.
Okay, so simple random sampling, that's the most straightforward.
Yeah, just like drawing names out of a hat.
Yeah.
Everyone has an equal chance.
But sometimes you need like a more nuanced approach.
Right. Imagine you're studying voting patterns
Okay.
in a city with like all these distinct neighborhoods.
Okay.
Simple random sampling might not capture all that diversity.
Right.
So that's where stratified random sampling comes in.
Okay.
You divide the city into those neighborhoods,
Yeah.
then randomly select participants from each neighborhood,
Oh.
making sure your sample really reflects those proportions.
Okay, so you're really trying to mirror
Mirror
the population
the real population as close as possible.
as closely as possible.
Exactly.
And then there's cluster sampling, which sounds like it's all about breaking things down into smaller groups.
Yeah, it's like sampling in stages.
Okay.
So imagine you're studying teacher satisfaction
Right.
across a large school district.
Okay.
First, you might just randomly select a few schools from that district.
Okay.
Then within those schools, you randomly select a few teachers.
Oh, so it's like a funnel,
It is like a funnel.
narrowing it down at each stage.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
And it seems like understanding these different sampling techniques is really essential for ensuring that the research findings
That they're accurate.
Yeah.
Are accurate.
and applicable to that larger population.
Exactly. The goal is to make sure that your sample is representative.
Right.
So that you can generalize your findings to the broader group.
That you're interested in.
Okay, so speaking of making sense of research findings,
Yes.
let's talk about data analysis techniques.
Okay.
That's where those raw numbers transform into those meaningful insights.
Right. We've got a whole arsenal of statistical tests, t-tests, chi-square tests, ANOVA,
Wow.
each designed to answer different kinds of research questions.
So it's like having different tools.
It's like a toolbox.
Oh, yeah, a toolbox.
Full of specialized tools for different tasks.
And thanks to data analysis with Microsoft Excel, we can actually see how these tests are done,
In practice.
like in the real world.
Yeah.
So software tools, they've become indispensable
Oh, absolutely.
in research, helping us manage these massive data sets.
Perform complex calculations and visualize those results.
And Excel is a great starting point,
Yeah.
but it's just one tool.
Yeah.
among many.
Of course.
There are more specialized statistical software packages,
Right.
programming languages like R
Yeah.
and Python. The research toolbox is constantly evolving.
It can be intimidating.
It can be a little bit intimidating,
Yeah.
but it's exciting.
But it's exciting.
It really comes back to using the right tools to extract meaning from the data
Yeah.
and to tell that story.
And to tell a story with the data.
That's accurate and insightful, acknowledging limitations,
Yeah.
considering alternative interpretations.
And then communicating that understanding effectively.
Right,
Through reports, presentations, publications.
right.
That's how research makes a real impact.
That's how it makes an impact.
Speaking of impact, let's shift our focus to something that I think is often overlooked.
Okay, what's that?
The art of visualizing data. Because even the most brilliant findings can get lost if they're buried in like a sea of numbers.
Oh, for sure.
Enter tables and figures.
Yeah.
The superheroes of data communication.
Totally.
The APA manual is our guide here,
Of course.
laying out all these guidelines on figure construction components, titles, legends.
It's like a design manual for
Yeah.
researchers.
Exactly,
But visualizing data isn't just about making things look pretty.
Right.
It's about making that complex information accessible.
Yeah, engagement.
A well-designed chart or graph
Yeah,
can reveal those patterns and trends that might be hidden in a table.
totally. Like those aha moments.
Yes,
When a visual representation makes everything click.
exactly.
I remember reading a study about climate change,
Okay.
and it was the graphs showing the rising temperatures and the rising sea levels
Right.
that really drove home the point
Yeah.
of how urgent the situation is.
Exactly. It's about using visuals to tell that story with the data,
Right.
guiding the reader's eye.
Highlighting the key insights.
Exactly. And it's not just bar graphs and pie charts.
Right.
We've got histograms,
Oh, yeah.
frequency polygons, even those pictographs.
Those are fun.
Those fun little charts with the pictures representing the data points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about choosing the right visual
Right tool for the job.
for the right data, the
Yeah.
right message.
Exactly.
And the APA manual does a really good job of providing that framework
It does.
for making sure those visuals are clear,
Yes.
accurate, and consistent
And consistent
with the overall style.
with the style of the research.
And that consistency is so crucial when it comes to like writing and reporting research,
Yes, let's talk about.
which is where we're going next.
Okay,
First impressions matter.
they do.
And in the research world, that first impression often comes in the form of a cover letter.
Right. It's like the research equivalent of a job application.
Exactly.
It's your chance to really introduce your work to those editors
Yeah.
and convince them why it deserves to be published.
The APA manual outlines those key elements to include.
Right.
But it's not just about like ticking boxes.
No.
It's about
no.
crafting a compelling narrative.
It's a story
Yeah.
that highlights the significance of your research and how it contributes to the knowledge.
You want to showcase your expertise and your passion,
Yes.
but you also have to adhere to the specific guidelines of that journal.
Right. You've got to follow those guidelines.
It's a tough balance,
It is a delicate balance,
but a crucial one.
that it's important.
And that attention to detail is important throughout the entire reporting process.
The whole process.
Whether you're writing a thesis, a dissertation, a journal article,
Right.
it's about communicating those findings
Yes.
effectively to your audience.
Clear and concise language.
Proper citations,
Yes.
a logical structure.
Absolutely.
But that structure can vary depending on the type of research.
Of course.
Quantitative studies often follow like a very linear approach
Hypothesis driven.
with an introduction, methods, results discussion.
The classic structure. Yeah.
Qualitative studies might take more of a narrative approach or a thematic approach,
Okay.
weaving together data interpretations, personal reflections.
And then mixed methods studies.
Oh, yeah.
They blend those
They blend it all together.
in all sorts of creative ways.
It's like choose your own adventure
Yeah.
for research reporting.
I like that.
But regardless of the approach, clear and concise writing is key.
Yeah.
Strong focus on the research question,
Yeah.
the contribution of the study.
And of course, ethical considerations
Well,
should
yep.
always be at the forefront.
Front and center.
All right. So we're kind of entering this digital age.
Right.
And it's impossible to ignore the impact of technology.
Oh, yeah. Technology has transformed everything.
Yeah. Qualitative, quantitative, and mixed methods approaches and how to write research proposals.
Yeah.
Highlight how technology has changed everything.
It really has.
From those literature searches we were talking about to the data analysis.
Yeah, I remember those dusty library shelves.
I do. We talked about,
Yeah.
well, thanks to computerized databases like ERIC
Yeah.
and Psych and MFO,
Yeah.
we can now access tons of research articles
Right from our desks.
right from our desk.
It's amazing.
They're incredible.
You can search by keywords, authors, publication dates, specific concepts.
You can refine your search.
Filter the results, set up alerts.
It's like having a personal research librarian.
Working for you 24/7.
Exactly.
And often you can access the full text
Oh, yeah.
of the articles online,
Right there.
which saves so much time and effort.
It's a game changer.
It really is.
And it's not just about those searches.
Right.
Technology has transformed data analysis as well.
Yeah, we have software programs like Excel,
SPSS,
SPSSR.
which provide those powerful tools for organizing, analyzing, visualizing data.
Yeah.
Statistical tests, charts, graphs, simulations,
All at your fingertips.
all at your fingertips.
It's incredible how much easier
Right.
and efficient.
More efficient.
These tools have made research.
But it's important to remember that technology is just a tool,
It is.
not a replacement.
for human judgment
Exactly.
and critical thinking.
Researchers still need to think carefully about their research question,
Yeah.
the design of their study, the ethical implications, how to interpret the findings.
Technology enhances.
It enhances the
learning.
rigor and the impact.
But we need to be aware of the potential pitfalls.
Of course.
Data privacy and security.
Huge concerns.
Huge concerns.
Researchers have a responsibility to protect the confidentiality of their participants
Yeah.
and make sure that data is stored and used ethically.
And then there's also the issue of access.
Right.
Not everyone has equal access to computers.
And the internet.
Yeah, and the internet, which can really create biases in the research sample.
Doesn't limit the generalizability of those findings.
So technology is a powerful force,
It is.
but we have to approach it thoughtfully,
Thoughtfully and carefully.
considering both its potential and its challenges. It's about finding that balance,
Yeah.
harnessing that power of technology, but staying true to those core values.
Of ethical and rigorous research.
Speaking of challenges, one that researchers often face is dealing with missing data.
Oh, yeah. Missing data.
It's a common problem,
It is.
especially with large-scale surveys
Right.
or
Yeah.
studies that follow people over time,
Longitudinal study.
and it can really have a big impact
Yeah.
on the validity of the findings.
Handbook of Survey Research really dives deep into this issue,
Oh, it does.
talking about all sorts of techniques for handling this missing data.
It's like a detective story,
It is.
trying to fill in the gaps.
Fill in those missing pieces.
What's fascinating is that the way you handle missing data
Yeah.
depends on a couple of things.
Why is the data missing?
Yeah. Why is it missing?
What kind of data do you have, and what's your research question?
Sometimes just excluding those cases
Is fine.
is fine.
But other times that can create some bias.
Yeah.
And distort the results.
And that's where those more sophisticated techniques come in,
Right.
allowing researchers to estimate those missing values based on the data they do have.
And the relationships between the variables.
But it's important to remember
Yeah.
that even those techniques,
They're not perfect.
they're not perfect.
They're based on assumptions
Right.
about the data and the reasons for that missingness.
Yeah.
And those assumptions may not always be true.
So researchers need to be transparent about how they handled that missing data
Right.
and acknowledge any potential limitations.
Transparency is key.
It all comes back to honesty?
And integrity.
Yeah, and integrity in research.
It all circles back to those core values of research.
Yeah.
The pursuit of truth, the advancement of knowledge, and using data responsibly to make decisions.
And as we kind of wrap up this first part of our deep dive,
Yeah.
it's striking how interconnected all these aspects of research are,
It really is.
from the ethics and the design to the analysis and reporting.
It's a complex process.
It is.
But ultimately driven by a shared goal
Yeah.
to expand knowledge,
And to make a positive impact.
to make a positive impact on the world.
All right, so we're going to take a quick break.
Oh.
And we'll be right back with more from our deep dive into the world of research.
Sounds good. And that's where presenting the findings comes in, right? We were just talking about data visualization and how powerful it can be. The APA manual actually has some specific guidelines on creating tables and figures,
Oh, yeah.
stressing that they need to be more than just decorative.
Right. They're not just there to make things look pretty.
Yeah, exactly.
Got to serve a purpose.
They have to serve a purpose.
The APA manual covers everything from like the components and the titles
Yeah.
to like images and legends.
And there's a real emphasis on like clear labeling, appropriate scaling, and using a visual style that really fits with that research report.
It's all about clarity.
Yeah.
Accuracy.
Clarity.
You want those visuals to really help the reader understand the
Do
finding.
not create confusion.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is that a good visual can sometimes reveal things that you might not have seen just by looking at the raw data.
Totally. It's like those aha moments when a chart or graph suddenly makes a complex pattern clear.
Exactly.
Data analysis with Microsoft Excel shows how to create these visuals using software.
Oh, nice.
And it's surprising how powerful Excel can be for data visualization.
You can create all sorts of charts and graphs.
Like what?
Scatter plots to show relationships between variables, histograms to see how data is distributed, even those pie charts that everyone seems to love.
And the best part is that Excel is like readily available,
Yeah, it's easy to use.
even if you're not like a statistics whiz.
Exactly. But it's important to remember that Excel is just one tool
Right.
in that data visualization toolbox.
Of course.
There are more specialized software packages out there
Right.
and programming languages like R that offer even more sophisticated ways to create visuals.
So it's all about choosing the right tool for the job,
Right tool for the job.
depending on what you need to do and the type of data you're working with.
Exactly.
But those core principles of clarity, accuracy, and storytelling with the data,
Those are essential.
they remain the same.
And that story then needs to be kind of woven into a clear and compelling narrative.
Right.
That's where the writing and reporting becomes super important.
Yeah, the APA manual is a great resource here.
Oh, it's a great resource.
It covers everything from like the formatting details to the principles of clear writing.
Absolutely. And one thing it really emphasizes is the importance of that strong cover letter
Oh, the cover
when
letter.
submitting research for publication.
It's like that first impression when you're applying for a job.
Yeah, it's your chance to really make a case for why your research matters.
Why it should be published in that journal.
Exactly. The APA manual offers some tips on what to include,
Right.
but it goes beyond just ticking boxes.
You need to craft a narrative
Tell a story,
that highlights the significance of your work.
grabs the editor's attention.
It's like a mini version of your research paper.
Yeah.
You convey the key findings, the implications, the overall contribution,
Concisely and engagingly.
tailored to that specific journal.
Exactly.
And once your paper is accepted,
Then the real writing begins.
that's when the fun starts.
Second language research methodology and design and the craft of research
Yeah.
have some good insights on writing research reports that are clear and engaging.
So they stress the importance of like a strong introduction.
Setting the stage.
Yeah, that sets the stage for the research question.
Right. And the literature review
Yeah.
gives the context.
The rationale for the study.
The methods section needs to be detailed enough that somebody could replicate your study,
Yeah.
and the results section should present those findings in a clear and objective way.
And then there's the discussion section.
The discussion.
That's where you interpret the findings, connect them back to the existing research.
Talk about the implications.
The limitations.
Yeah. Second language research methodology and design points out that the writing style can actually be quite different
Oh, yeah.
for quantitative and qualitative studies.
So quantitative studies often focus on like the statistical analyses,
Hypothesis testing.
while qualitative studies might really emphasize those rich descriptions, the themes, and the participants' perspectives.
It's all about using language that really fits that type of research.
And the audience.
And the audience.
And research reporting isn't just about those print publications anymore.
Right. We have all these online journals,
There-
blogs, social media platforms,
Yeah, offering all these new and exciting ways to share those research findings.
and reach a wider audience.
Speaking of expanding research horizons, let's talk more about the role of technology.
Oh, yeah, technology.
Qualitative, quantitative, and mixed methods approaches, and how to write research proposals.
Yes.
Really highlight how technology has transformed everything.
From those literature searches to data analysis.
Remember those dusty library shelves we were talking
Oh,
about?
dude.
Well, thanks to computerized databases like ERIC and Psych and NFO,
Yeah.
we can now access these huge collections of research articles
Right from our desks.
right from our desk.
These databases are incredible.
They are
You can search by keywords, authors, publication dates.
specific concepts.
You can refine your searches, filter the results, even set up alerts for new publications.
It's like having a personal research librarian.
working for you 24/7.
I love it.
And often you can access the full text of those articles right there online.
It saves so much time.
It's a game changer.
It really is.
And it's not just literature searches.
Right.
Technology has also revolutionized data analysis.
We have software programs like Excel, SPSS, and R
providing all those powerful tools
for organizing, analyzing,
visualizing data,
statistical tests, charts, graphs, even simulations.
all at your fingertips.
It's amazing how much easier and efficient these tools have made research.
It really is.
But technology is just a tool, right?
It is.
It's not a replacement for human judgment and critical thinking.
Exactly. Researchers still need to carefully consider their research, question the design of their study, the ethical implications, how to interpret those findings.
Technology just enhances.
It enhances the rigor and the impact.
But we need to be aware of the potential pitfalls.
Right.
Data privacy and security.
Huge concerns.
Big concerns.
Researchers have a responsibility to protect the confidentiality of their participants.
Yeah.
Make sure that data is stored and used ethically.
And then there's the issue of access.
Right. Not everyone has equal access to computers and the internet.
Yeah, which can create biases in those samples.
And limit how much we can generalize those findings.
So technology is this powerful force.
It is.
In the research landscape. But it's important to approach it thoughtfully.
Thoughtfully and carefully.
Considering both its potential and its challenges.
Absolutely.
It's about finding that balance.
Right.
Harnessing the power, but staying true to the core values of ethical and rigorous research.
Speaking of challenges, one that researchers often face is dealing with that missing data.
Missing data. It's a common problem.
It is, especially in those large-scale surveys or studies that follow people over time.
Longitudinal studies.
Longitudinal studies.
And it can have a big impact.
Oh, it can.
On how reliable the findings are.
The Handbook of Survey Research goes into depth on this issue.
Oh, it does.
Talking about all sorts of different ways to handle missing data.
It's like a detective trying to fill in the gaps in a story.
Yes. Fill in those missing pieces.
What's fascinating is how you deal with that missing data. Really depends on a lot of factors.
It does.
Why is the data missing?
What kind of data do you have?
What kind of data do you have?
And what's the research question you're trying to answer?
Sometimes just excluding those cases with missing data is fine.
Sometimes it's fine.
But other times that can really introduce bias.
And distort the results.
And that's where those more sophisticated techniques come in.
Right. Allowing researchers to estimate those missing values based on the data they do have and the relationships between the variables.
But even those techniques aren't perfect.
They're not perfect.
They rely on assumptions about the data.
About the data and the reasons for the missingness.
And those assumptions might not always hold true.
They might not.
So researchers need to be transparent about how they handle that missing data and acknowledge any potential limitations.
Transparency is key.
Honesty and integrity are absolutely essential in research.
It all comes back to those core values we talked about.
The pursuit of truth.
Advancing knowledge.
Using data responsibly.
Making informed decisions.
As we wrap up this part of our deep dive.
Yeah.
It's amazing to see how interconnected all these aspects of research are.
It really is.
Ethics study, design, data analysis, reporting. It's a complex process.
It is a complex process, but it's all driven by that shared goal of expanding knowledge.
Making a positive impact.
Making a positive impact.
And that impact can take so many forms.
So many forms.
Informing public policy.
Achieving healthcare outcomes.
Advancing technology.
Promoting social change.
The possibilities are endless.
They really are.
It's inspiring to think about the potential of research to make a real difference.
It is inspiring.
And as we've seen, it's a multifaceted process.
That requires a wide range of skills, perspectives, and approaches.
From designing those rigorous studies and collecting that meaningful data,
to analyzing the results and communicating those findings.
Research is a collaborative endeavor.
It requires creativity, critical thinking, a commitment to ethical principles.
And it's not just about those researchers working in isolation anymore.
Right.
We're seeing a shift towards more participatory and community-engaged research.
Oh, absolutely.
Where stakeholders are involved throughout that process.
Yeah, that's an important development.
It helps ensure that the research is relevant.
Applicable to the real world.
Addressing the needs of diverse communities.
Exactly.
And it's not just about like those big groundbreaking discoveries.
Right.
Research also plays a vital role in addressing everyday problems.
Right.
You know, improving people's lives.
Like in education. By studying different teaching methods, learning styles, classroom environments, researchers can actually help educators create those more effective and engaging learning experiences.
For all sorts of students.
For all students.
Like tailoring education.
To fit the individual.
Yeah.
Rather than using that one-size-fits-all approach.
Exactly. And then in psychology, research is helping us understand
the complexities of human behavior.
Yeah.
Emotions, thinking.
And these insights are leading to like new treatments.
For mental health disorders,
Yeah.
ways to cope with stress and trauma,
Yeah.
strategies for enhancing well-being.
So it seems like research is all about, like,
Asking questions.
yeah, asking questions, seeking answers.
And using those answers to make changes.
To make positive changes in the world.
Like a positive change. That's a great way to put it.
And it's not just limited to those specific fields.
Right.
Like education or psychology.
It's everywhere.
Research is also crucial for tackling those global challenges.
Right. Climate change, poverty. By gathering data, analyzing trends, testing solutions,
Yeah.
researchers can really help policymakers make those informed decisions that can have a real impact.
So it's about using evidence to guide action
Yes, using evidence to guide action.
and create a more sustainable and equitable world.
A better world for everyone.
It's inspiring to think about how much potential research has to make a difference.
It really is, and as we've seen in this deep dive,
Yeah.
it's a multifaceted process
It is.
that involves so many different skills, perspectives, and approaches.
From designing those studies and collecting that data to analyzing those results and communicating those findings,
Research is a collaborative endeavor.
it requires creativity,
Right.
critical thinking, and a commitment to ethical principles.
Absolutely. And it's not just about researchers working in isolation anymore.
Right.
We're seeing a shift towards more participatory and community-engaged
Oh,
research,
so that's great.
where those stakeholders are involved throughout the entire process.
That's a really important development.
It
It helps ensure that the research is relevant and applicable
to the real world.
and addressing the needs of those diverse communities.
Exactly.
So whether you're like a seasoned researcher
Right.
or just starting out,
Exploring this world.
yeah. I hope this deep dive has given you a better understanding of the research process.
Yeah. Its complexities, its challenges, and its incredible potential.
Because research isn't just about generating knowledge.
It's about using that knowledge to make a positive impact on the world.
And that's something that we can all be a part of,
We can.
whether it's supporting research, engaging with research findings,
Advocating for responsible and ethical
to
research.
create a better future.
Exactly.
It's about valuing knowledge, embracing curiosity.
And recognizing that research has the power to really illuminate the world around us.
And guide us towards a brighter tomorrow.
To a brighter tomorrow.
So there you have it, your personalized deep dive.
Into the world of research.
We've covered a lot of ground.
From the fundamentals of research design and ethics.
To those exciting possibilities of technology and the importance of communicating those findings effectively.
We hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity.
And giving you a solid foundation for exploring the world of research.
Keep those inquisitive minds buzzing.
And until next time, happy researching.